Hello YouTubers, Reloading Bench, back with you once again. And this is kind of reloading related, but it's going to be mixing in some machining hobby as well. All of this is related to conceptually this. This is what's known as a squib rod. So when you have a bullet stuck in your barrel that didn't quite make it all the way down the length of the barrel, pistol, you use this to pop it out. Well, this is only good for 9mm through 45 ACP, and it's a heavy piece of brass, and it's a really cool, solid piece of machining. And in the past, I've used stuff like oak, and you can see where it's chipped and marred. Not the best, you know, this is better for extracting brass, a stuck piece of brass, than it is for a bullet. Whereas this has got weight to it. Obviously, you would be hammering on this end. This is cool. This is about 20, I've seen these anywhere from $20 to $35 online, depending on where you get them. I think CES has the best price at like $19.95. But, you know, with shipping, handling, you're at about $30 or so. Again, great value. Picked one up for my son as well. Only problem is, this doesn't work for a 22. And if you have a 22 pistol that gets a round stuck for whatever reason, you're kind of shit out of luck. You would have to go and use a much smaller bore and figure out what you're going to put on this tip. So I decided I was going to buy this this set from K&S. Picked this up a while back, and the largest brass piece in here, I would have to measure. I'm assuming that is 1/8 of an inch diameter. Whatever one of these, oh, you're not even seeing this, sorry. I want to say the largest can go to fit down the barrel of a 22, or it's the second largest. In either case, it's one of these. So my intent with this, and this was way before I got the lathe, my intent with this was to maybe make a little wooden handle similar to this, drill a little hole, and then glue in the piece of brass, and then cut the piece of brass to length so I would have one of these. And the reason is because I looked online before I purchased this a few months back to see if they made this for a 22, and they don't. This is the smallest version of this. Some of them will be in a round head, some of them will be in a hex head, but again, this is the smallest version. So I then thought, well, now that I have the lathe, and I even thought before I had the lathe, wow, this would be a great thing to, if I had a lathe, to be able to turn this down, you know, buy another one of these, turn it down, and it would be the size of a 22. A lot of turning. So that's what one of these packages is all about. So this is just demonstrative of the idea. But my son, what he's done is he's gotten a fancier bore tool that takes what's called a stuck bullet knockout, which is, I'd rather just say squib tool. And he showed me this, and I thought, oh, that's kind of cool, where you take, for the most part, an 8.32 thread, your standard, you know, cleaning tool, and you would screw in one of these heads, depending on, you know, 17 to 20 cal, 22 to 6.5 Creedmoor, 270 to 338, and then 45 on up. So this is basically the equivalent of, I would say, between these, closer to the 45, but can still go down a 9mm barrel. And what these are, it looks like just, you know, the equivalent of a cleaning tool, only it's, you know, the end of, you know, big piece of brass that's machined down to fit on a tool to extract a stuck bullet. Kind of cool. Is it as solid as this piece of brass? Maybe not. But when you start machining down the piece of brass to something thinner, you might have some issues. So I'm not sure which path I'm going to go down, but that's what some of this packaging opening is for. So this took a while. Wasn't a quickie. Get rid of the paperwork. And what this is a smaller version of this. And I think I'm going to have to measure this. I thought this was going to be bigger. I thought it was going to be the same size across as this. So I don't remember if this was a return item or not. This may be going back because I thought it was going to be this thick. And my intent was to take this hex, crank it into the lathe, and turn it down. But considering how much thinner this head is, I'm not sure I got what I thought I was going to get. So, Amazon, we may be coming back to you. And because of the length of this, and what happened when I first started using the lathe, where I had a bunch sticking out the ass end of the spindle and I got the wobble, better to put, you know, this much in the spindle and chuck, and then deal with this with either the tailstock and a live center, or in combination with this. So I was trying to combine both hobbies, reloading and machining, to make that, but wait, there's more. But wait, there is more. Because, that's an awful lot of box for, I guess that's better than a bag, so I should be quiet. We will open this. We will try to open this. And what's funny about this is a returnable product, as all my, obviously somebody else returned this. This is an open package. This almost looks like an Amazon returney kind of thing. All right, so I'm going to guess that this has already been opened and returned, because it doesn't look like it's original. I also noticed that when I checked online, this is no longer available to order. Also a kind of a yellow flag. All right, so I'm going to say not used, no oil. I mean, it doesn't look effed up in any way. Ha! I spoke too soon. Look how bent that is. Wow, that's fucked up. Look how bent that mofo is. That is janky jank. This one's not bent. At least it's not bent as much as that one. So I was reading online the debate of fingers versus rolling ball versus whatever. This was not too expensive, relatively speaking. Again, cheap Chinesium lathe, so cheap Chinesium options. So I will take this one, I'll take this out and see if there's anything I can do. Wow, that is... So I'm going to say damaged and replace with same, and see what the rainforest does for me. And I'm also going to check on the size of this, because I thought this was bigger than what it is. Because my other option that I might also do if I return this is to buy one of these and just turn that down, because I've already got a start on it. But I wanted to tinker a little more with my own version. So we'll see what happens. But the next video might be a finished product, or this might be the only video in the series because I'm abandoning it and going with another route. Or that shows up for Christmas. We'll see how that works. Later all. Oh, YouTube Reloading Bench back with you once again. And I think I said in a recent video, I'm done sharing the mass updates and additions, upgrades, updates to the lathe. But this is another edition. But this edition relates to this. And I think I showed you in a previous update, so maybe this replaces an update and augments. This is again from our friends at Little Machine Shop, which is turning out to be quite a good source of stuff, because the stuff on Amazon is you know, what's a polite way of saying this? Challenging. So when I ordered some stuff on the rainforest somewhat recently, it got delivered, and I thought, okay, cool. That's, you know, what I expected. Remember, my no-name lathe, which doesn't show up on any of Little Machine Shop's compatibility list. But I think my lathe, my mini lathe, is very similar to the Sieg C2-ish footprint bed design. So, as you can see, this is a steady rest set. And this is the other member of the steady rest set. So, I bought the steady rest previously because I didn't want this hanging out while I was cutting it down, turning it down to fit in a 22. Excuse me, ooh, my coffee's coming back. So I ordered the steady rest from the rainforest. It showed up. You saw me unboxing it, and what's the right way to put it? Get what you pay for. But what I noticed, and I don't know that this will work, so this may be going back as well. But the issue for the steady rest that I bought from the rainforest was the cut for the waves and then the other part of the bed. There was no way for my steady rest to work. And I don't know if that's going to work. Well, we'll find out. So I'm just going to set this. I'm going to set this on my lathe to see, you know, if it will sit properly, because the one that I got would sit on the ways, but then it wouldn't reach the bed, so it was, you know, technically at an angle. Again, I don't know if this will be any better. In fact, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take this off so that I don't have to deal with it. And I can just set it and see if it's going to align. The one I got did not have the wheels. This one, so this is sold as a set. I'm not even going to open this one, because if this doesn't work, there's no point of opening this. This one is the same as this, only it's got fingers, brass fingers instead of wheels. And based on my research, it's half a dozen of one, six of another. So I will see if this sits on my ways and the bed and will, you know, align with my chuck. Otherwise, this kind of goes back, and maybe you'll never see this video because there's no point. So maybe back later. Finally, some good news. All right, one of the other issues with the steady rest that I returned was this area here, this milled area, was like, you know, an eighth of this. So it barely, you know, about that much was resting on the other side of my lathe bed. And there's just no way I was going to clamp that down. So when I tested this you may recall is my failed attempt at my first carriage lock. So I keep it as a memento. But when I set this on my ways, and this covers the entire, there's only maybe 10% of my bed left over, so this is rock solid in terms of being able to set on the bed. And by putting that on top of the bed, I would not use this one, I would machine a new piece. I need to sand this down just enough, file it down, and this is level. So this will be a keeper. So therefore, we can now open this one. And the difference between the two is, I believe this one is up to a 2-inch diameter, or one. One of them was larger than the other. Let's see what's the best way to open this. I suppose it really doesn't matter. All right, so these are keepers. And as I'm learning in my machining world, nothing comes without a cost. Modification is the cost. And I will say again, these guys ship, you know what, instead of yanking it out this way, these guys ship so fast. All right, yes, so this is the smaller diameter one. So these fingers are extended almost, boy, that's just, you gotta love the attempt at paint. Are extended almost to their max. So that's, and I'm gonna guess maybe this one can extend a little, maybe not. So that's as big as, or as small as the diameter that this will accept. The largest being when these are all the way inside, which is probably, it looks like two, almost, it says 2.5, but then when you add the space, I'm going to say 2 inches or so. It's on their website for anyone who's interested. And yeah, so that'll reach the same. That will reach the same for me. Excellent, excellent, Smithers. I will tinker with this for a minute to see how this aligns with the chuck and my solution. Back in a minuet. Yeah, these are both keepers. They'll need some cleaning up inside here, and by cleaning up, some filing to make that less rough. The two of these combined were almost, these were more expensive by 30%, less than 30% than the single one that was extremely off in its size. So well, that looks like something I would do. That's about as bad. Not that it matters, because that's on the bottom. So these are keepers, and again, small, large, arms interchangeable. They'll get cleaned up and put to use as I debate what I'm doing about that rod for the squib, the 22 squib. I think I don't like the hex piece of brass that I have, because I think honestly it's too thin, the base for what I want, where I'd be tapping on the head. So I think what I'm going to do is find a 9mm that will do 930, 940, 45, 9 357, 40, 45, and just turn that one down. So the steady rest will come in handy, just a question of when. And like I said, these will get cleaned up and they will be used. So thank you, Little Machine Shop, to the rescue, because a lot better in terms of the meat and compatibility than the stuff on the Rainforest that's just labeled as, you know, mini lathe compatible, and not quite so. Later. Hello, YouTubers. Reloading Bench back with you once again. This afternoon's weekend projects. I'm going to fix all these old janky 223s that we had issues with, recycle the powder primer and projectile. And the second thing I'm going to be doing is, since I decided to keep this hexagonal shorty meaning not so big, smaller, and I think I've shown you these rods before, I'm going to find the rod that's close enough to the size of a 22. I'm then going to cut this, drill it, tap it, thread the end of this, and then screw that in and see if that becomes a viable 22 squib rod. It won't be as strong as if it was a single piece of brass that was turned down, but you know, I've got a couple of ideas and I've got enough brass to play with, so let me see how that potentially works out. Back for more. Well, YouTube, the weekend has come to an end. My projects have come to an end. I took care of fixing some old 223 that wouldn't perform. And as you recall, this is my 9/357/40/45 squib rod. And I love this. And I wanted to make an equivalent. So as you recall, I bought some stock, hex bar stock that I thought was this size, but turned out to be not. I don't know what I was thinking. I think I was thinking 3/4 inch instead of 1/3 inch, but regardless. And then from my assortment of brass rods, this is what's left of the brass rod that I used. And this is what I made. So, functionally, it's... or cosmetically, it's very similar, and functionally it's identical. So we have a 22 long rifle squib rod that will fit down the barrel of a 22 pistol. So we now have a matching set, and this project has come to an end, and it came out pretty good. So that is it for the weekend.